This is a FESLEY FDK800, and these are Guyker locking tuners. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of installing these locking tuners into this guitar. Now, if you've never done anything like this before, don't worry. I'll walk you through everything you need to know, and we'll find out whether or not these locking tuners are worth your time, effort, and money. Let's dive in. While I have done sponsored content for Guyker in the past, this video isn't sponsored. These are available on Amazon and Guyker.com. I'll leave affiliate links to both websites. Just keep in mind I may earn a small commission from it. If you do buy these from Guyker.com, use the affiliate coupon code FretboardDiaries and you'll save 10% on your total purchase. It's nice to see that they package the screws separately in a bag. They're not just floating loosely around in the container. And in holding one of these, they have a good amount of weight and feel solid without actually being too heavy. And I'm not really concerned that they'll cause neck dive on the guitar. So the FESLEY is up on the bench. A couple of things I want to go over really quick before I take the strings off. I want to tell you we may have to make an adjustment to this bridge once we're complete. It is a 2-point trem system, and removing all of the strings may throw off the action a little bit. It's a very simple claw adjustment to do up underneath here. I'll show you how to do it once we're done with the video. If you're working with a Floyd Rose, you can use a block underneath the bridge to keep your setting. You can search videos on that. There's a bunch of videos on how to do that. It's, again, something that's simple to do, but you need to know about. I'm gonna go ahead and get the strings off. I'll get you a better look at the tools I'm using and go ahead and get these old tuners removed. So now we're gonna be taking the old tuners out. Again, not too difficult to do. To do this, I like a 10mm deep socket wrench. Really makes this wildly easy to do. Take these off. If you don't have one of those, a 10mm wrench will do. You just want to be super careful not to scratch your instrument. So what we're going to do initially is remove the bushing off the top, and then we'll flip the guitar over and take the screws out of the bag. So once you get the bushings loose, you can actually just remove them by hand, and you also have to remove the washer. So with those removed, all we have to do now is take the screws out of the back. Always keep a couple of different size screwdrivers handy because you're never really quite certain which ones will work the best. All of those screws came out with relative ease, and from there, these just pop out. That was about as easy as it can get, right? I mean, pretty simple, basic, straightforward. I kind of feel like even if you've never done this before, you should be able to do this with relative ease. So with the old tuners removed, now it's time to insert our new tuners, and thankfully they fit without having to be bored out. And if you did have to open up these holes a little bit, I would absolutely recommend that you use a ream. You do not want to use a drill to do this. Now, obviously this guitar is fine, and a lot of other guitars that I've had, it's not been an issue, but it's been my experience that Jackson guitars, you typically need a ream to bore these out. You do not, under any circumstance, want to use a drill to open these up if you need to. For right now, what we're going to go ahead and do is use our new screws, get them screwed in, and at least get them into position. Now is a great time to tell you that if you like guitar-related content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm always doing stuff like this. I love budget guitars, budget instruments, budget gear. One quick note on this, don't tighten these screws all the way down. Just kind of get them in place, and then once we get the bushings in, we'll tighten these down so that they're lined up perfectly. So let's go ahead and put the washer and bushing on. We'll hand tighten the bushing down. Then we're going to flip it over, tighten the screws on the back down. Then we'll flip it back over and use the socket wrench to tighten down these bushings. So one thing I'd like to talk about is I screwed this last one in. The threading on these is a vast improvement off of previous Guyker locking tuners. I did have issues with previous ones where the threading didn't seat quite right and I had to grab the wrench just to even start it. That was not an issue with these. I was able to hand tighten them all the way down, and that's really a definite improvement on this product. So them hand tightened down, I want to go ahead and tighten the screws down here to kind of set them in place. But just get them close. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and tighten them down. Just make sure they're even. As you can see, they are, of course, nice and even across here. As I tighten them up, they might not have been in perfect focus, but you get the idea. And we are literally good to go. It is honestly that easy to do. So there's nothing really crazy about these at all. They lined up perfectly. We have locking tuners in our FESLEY FDK800. So now it's time to go ahead and get some strings on this and see how well these new Guyker locking tuners function. So since I had the strings off, I decided to go ahead and polish the frets, clean and condition the fretboard. If you're curious how this process is done, at the end of this video, I'll link a video showing exactly in detail how this is done. Now it's time to go ahead and string this bad boy up. I'm going to throw some lighter gauge D'Addario's on here, and this is where locking tuners really shine. Starting with the first string, we're going to pull this through, kind of pull it to a point where it's tight, and then from there you can lock the string in and then start to turn it. So at this point, the string is secured and we can cut this here. Now there is a school of thought where you may want to wrap around here once or twice. Personally, I don't do that. I haven't had any problems with string breakage or the string breaking free, but some folks actually prefer to do that. I don't think there's particularly a right or wrong in that situation. We are off and running. Forgive my very rusty pliers. Recently moved, still looking for some of my tools. So in the unlikely event that you do need to make a bridge adjustment from having all of the strings off, changing the tuners, maybe it throws something off, it's very simple to do. There's a claw in here, 3 springs that are connected to the block, which controls how the bridge is leveled out. Okay, if the bridge is too far forward and you need to release some tension, you can back these screws out. It releases tension on the claw and springs, and it will lower the bridge back down. If the bridge is too low and you need to pull it up, you can simply tighten these screws and it will pull the bridge back. Easy enough. I would tell you maybe do half a turn on each one and check it. Mine is maybe just a hair low, but I'd like to make some action adjustment here on the saddles, so I'm not going to touch it for the moment. It doesn't seem to really have moved much at all off of the stock position. So I'll do a quick demo here and then I'll let you know what I think of these tuners. So I've had these tuners in the guitar now about a week. I've put probably anywhere from 7 to 10 hours worth of playing time on them. And there are some noticeable differences between these and the previous models that I installed on the Harley Benton that I have over here. The first most noticeable difference is something that I mentioned when I was installing it, and that's the threads in the bushing. The threading was much improved. I could literally hand tighten them all the way down. It didn't get hung up anywhere while threading it, while seating it. The threads seated quite nicely. There was no need to grab the wrench and have to tighten it down until the very end, of course. So, you know, in that sense, the threading or the threads are much better. The other big noticeable improvement in these is that all 6 of the tuners here were very smooth when you turn them. The other set of Guykers that I had, there were a couple that they had some sticking points or they just felt a little rough. All 6 of these are really smooth. So overall, these are definitely an improvement off the previous model. I'll be sure to put up a comparison of what the 2 models look like on the screen to give you an idea. If you're looking at tuners now, you're definitely gonna want to get this model. Between the 2 that I had, these were considerably better. So overall, for the price point for these tuners, I think they're really a fantastic value. Typically when I do videos like this or reviews, I almost always have something negative or some type of con to say. But with these, this is probably one of the first products that I've reviewed on the channel where I don't really have anything negative to say. They functioned as they should. The threading seated perfectly in the bushing. You can hand tighten them all the way down. And, ultimately they have a very good look to them. The finish is nice on them. I don't really see any reason not to get these. Perhaps the only other consideration would be if you were putting them into a higher end guitar, you might simply want a tuner with a better name. But, in terms of functionality, I'm really impressed with these, much more so than the previous set that I put in the Harley Benton, which I still thought were good. They literally kind of felt like budget tuners. And you were like, all right, well, they were 25 bucks, whatever they were. So a couple of them are going to be a little bit rough. And yeah, you gotta kind of get the wrench out to thread them down on there. But these didn't have either of those issues. So because of that, I definitely feel like, this is an incredible value for what you get. So if you want to know more about this guitar, be sure to check out the video that I'm going to link right here. If you're curious about the process that I did on the fretboard, polishing up these frets and conditioning the fretboard, be sure to check out this video right here. It'll run you through the process, albeit on a different guitar, but it'll give you an idea of how I did it. Again, if you enjoy guitar-related content, be sure to sub the channels. I've always got new videos coming out on budget gear, and as always, thanks for watching.